My name is Brian Borneman, Assistant Chief of the Merrimack Fire Department. We recently held our annual open house, October 3rd, which was a Thursday night. We hold this in conjunction with Fire Prevention Month. Fire Prevention Week was initially established about 90 years ago, and it was on the anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire. Some fire prevention and fire chiefs in the country decided we're having a lot of loss with fire deaths and property loss, because we had to do something to try to reduce the number of fires. And that's how Fire Prevention Week got started. Our particular event, we have an open house here annually at the fire station, and we have normally several hundred visitors walk through, and we have different stations set up with some apparatuses on display for people to ask questions. We have some fire safety literature and things like that, and some demonstrations that we do to try to get our message out and talk about smoke detectors. One of the demonstrations we have is fire extinguishers. Fire extinguisher are a great tool to have in your home and can fight a lot of fire in a early detection or the early beginning of a fire. A fire extinguisher can put out a lot of fire. We always ask that you call us first before you attempt to fight the fire, to let us come and be on the way.
And don't try this at home. You guys are trained to wear protective clothing, okay?
But the fire extinguisher demonstration, we have a live fire outside. One of the firefighters demonstrates how to properly use a fire extinguisher and extinguish a fire, and that's usually well received. One of the other things we do with a fire extinguisher demonstration is this year's theme for fire prevention was kitchen fires, or kitchen safety and how to prevent. Most home fires start in the kitchen, and there's a lot of things you can do to prevent those things, but one of the things we always stress is if you have a grease fire on top of your stove, to properly put that out with a lid, just smothering the fire. And you don't want to use water on that fire because it could accelerate or spread that fire within your house. During the fire extinguisher demonstration, we actually used a air pressurized water extinguisher, or a water fire extinguisher, and we had simulated the fire pan that we have is actually simulating a grease fire. Even though it's a petroleum product, it has the same characteristics of cooking grease in your house. And when that stream is directed into that burning pan, it actually spreads the fire. So we kind of demonstrated what not to do. A couple of other demonstrations. We have a airbag demonstration. Jim Bailey, who's Bailey's Towing, comes down and shows the impact or the force that a airbag that's in your vehicle that protects you from a frontal impact, and he stresses that it's a system.
Airbag. This has been deployed. I actually set this off this afternoon to make sure it was going to work. When these inflate, they inflate at over 200 miles an hour. So you certainly don't want your children sitting too close to these, nor short people too close to these. Also, along with the seatbelt, cars today have some seat belts, along with the airbags, they have seat belts that retract at the same time that bag goes off. This is an example of a seat belt that did retract, and the theory behind this is it pulls your body away from the bag as the bag's coming out of the steering wheel. So a combination of these two both is certainly, in my opinion, saving a lot of lives out there.
It demonstrates that force when he sets one off in the parking lot.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Smokey Bear was here walking around, interacting. The kids like Smokey. Get that, prevent wildland fires message out. We have a fire safety trailer here, and that's a thing that demonstrates several different areas of fire safety, smoke detectors, exit plans, and that we can smoke the house, and gives people an understanding of getting out of a house and proper use of smoke detectors and such. Another thing we have set up in the back of the building is one of our fire engines and a length of fire hose, and we have that operating and a firefighter there, and the kids get to come up and they can handle the hose, they can turn it on, and simulate that if they were a firefighter, what it would be to handle a fire hose and spray water. The kids always like that. It's a great picture opportunity for the parents. They come down and really enjoy that.
Woohoo! Look how far the shoots are.
We also have obviously all of our apparatus. We got a lot of different apparatus on display with the firefighters there answering questions. The kids get to climb in the fire truck, which is always an exciting thing for the kids to get to sit in the fire trucks and ride where the firefighters ride. We also had our aerial apparatus, ladder one, on display, and used the ladder pipe to flow water. That ladder pipe, as we call it, would be used for a large fire or somewhere where we were protecting another exposure or another building next to the fire building, or something that has gotten so large that we can't get inside to effectively fight it. We would use that aerial ladder pipe to combat that fire. But the kids get to get into the apparatus, sit where the firefighters are, ask questions. Some of the parents or people here may have specific questions, and that's their opportunity to ask a question or see what we do have for as a fire department here, and what apparatus we have to protect the citizens of Merrimack and what they're used for. We also have Gunny, our K9 dog here, the police department. Officer Walters comes down, and he's always a great hit, and with the crowd, does a great job for the town of Merrimack and its citizens, but demonstrates what the K9 dog can do, or Gunny can do. One of his capabilities is the K9 detection dog, or he can do drug detection, where he does a demonstration where he puts a sample, known sample of drugs. He shows the crowd where it is, and then he goes and gets Gunny, and Gunny starts looking for it. And this year he did find the thing, because that's another capability that Gunny has. One of the firefighters is volunteered to be the victim or the bad guy per se, but that's always a good thing for the citizens to see what they're getting out of the K9 dog. With the highway running through town, and unfortunately we do have a lot of car accidents, but some of the equipment we have to help assist us with freeing trapped occupants or making that go smooth is we do a car accident simulation. This year what we did is we had a single SUV, and we placed a simulated victim underneath that car, and we use what we call our airbags. They're basically just rubberized or hard rubber air bladders that we can place underneath a vehicle or underneath a piece of equipment, and we have controls. The firefighters use that to actually, the bag inflates and can lift and displace or lift up the object that's pinning a trapped victim. So this year we placed a simulated victim underneath the vehicle. The firefighters put some airbags underneath, lifted the vehicle, stabilized that, and were able to slide that victim out of the car, out from underneath the car, package them, and transport them. After that, we had a simulated victim inside the car. we just demonstrated the different jaws of life, which most people refer to our extrication tools as, which are cutters and spreaders. We can cut metal, we can spread metal or displace things. So we actually went around, cut the post, removed the roof, and that gives us better access inside the vehicle. While they're doing medical treatment, the firefighters are moving around, preparing the car, remove the roof, gain the access to the vehicle, and then when we do that, it's safer. We have the room that we need to safely remove that occupant from that vehicle, package them, and transport them to the hospital.
As you can see, the paramedics have full access to the patient.
Usually the culmination of the whole evening is Reed's Ferry Lumber donates some lumber that we can utilize and build some rooms or some wood frame structures in the back, and we do 2 of them in the back of the building. The shifts build those, and we have a local sprinkler company that comes down and puts a residential sprinkler system in one, and the other one is just a regular room. And both are ignited, and it can demonstrate how quickly a residential sprinkler system will activate and extinguish a fire, at least combat it and keep it to the room of origin.
Just containing the fire.
The other one is just let to go, and it shows you how fast a fire can develop inside of a structure.
After all that fire, you can still hear the smoke detectors. They're still working.
Then the fire crews go in and a couple of times demonstrate how they would extinguish a fire, and ultimately both buildings, we let them burn to consumption or till they're gone.
See how cool it gets? Go and heat right away. And not really putting it on the fire, they're just using the water to absorb the BTU value from the fire itself, which absorbs the heat.
I think open house was a huge success here for 2013. We had several hundred citizens walk through, get to see some of our displays, maybe get a little fire safety lesson. There was some local companies here, Domino's Pizza, Papa Gino's, a Homestead restaurant. They got to have a little food while they were here and hopefully had a good time, but they get to see what Merrimack Fire provides them. And I think overall the kids left happy, the parents left happy. And I think overall it was a success.